The Make in India program, launched in 2014, was meant to transform India into a global manufacturing hub, creating millions of jobs and reduce dependence on imports, especially from China. The target was to raise manufacturing share in GDP from around 15% to 25% by 2025. More than a decade later, a report from Hindrich Foundation suggests the reality is far more complex. While India has made progress in assembling products such as smartphones, solar modules and certain defense equipment, it remains heavily reliant on Chinese components, raw materials and technology. The dependence has shifted from finished goods to upstream goods, keeping China firmly embedded in India's supply chain. Government trade data highlights the scale of the challenge. Import from China surged 25% year in March 2025 alone, reaching $9.7 billion for the month. Electronics, electric batteries and solar cells drove much of this increase. Over the full year, imports from China climbed to $113.5 billion. On the other hand, exports to China have gone the other way. In March 2025, they fell 14.5% year-on-year to $1.5 billion. Over the 12-month period, exports totaled just $14.3 billion. Apparently, the production-linked incentive schemes launched in 2020 with rupees 1.9 trillion in incentives for 14 sectors were designed to build domestic manufacturing capacity. There have been gains in electronic exports, semiconductor projects and solar module production. Tariffs plus domestic incentives have reduced the share of Chinese solar imports from over 90% to 56% for cells and 66% for modules. Yet, manufacturing share of GDP is now below 14%, lower than when Make in India began. Many sectors, including steel, textiles, auto parts and batteries, have fallen short of targets. India still imports over 70% of the active pharmaceutical ingredients used in its generic drug industry from China, despite targeted PLI schemes. Many of India's headline success stories remain dependent on Chinese inputs. China's manufacturing advantage lies in its complete industrial ecosystem. Over decades, it has built tightly linked supply chains between factories, research institutions, and skilled workforces. With that, Make in India continues with the contribution of China.